Hello, welcome to my video on how to play the Elementalist. Some of you might be here because you are considering making an Elementalist, or you might have already created one, but you're not sure what to do. Everything is just confusing for you. Not to worry, I will personally guide you through on how to play the Elementalist. I'll try to make it somewhat between a crash course and a comprehensive guide, so you get the best of both worlds. Some of you might be wondering, should I play the Elementalist? Why the Elementalist? I'll tell you why. The Elementalist is very versatile and it provides strong solo capabilities. It can also provide group support. If you want damage, you have fire, you have air. If you want healing, you have water. If you want condition damage, you have both fire and earth. You basically have everything. I wouldn't say the best of everything because that will be OP, but it's kind of, you have a decent amount of everything. So that's how the Elementalists work. You're the I'm gonna do everything myself kind of thing. I don't know, maybe I'm like this because I'm a boss soloist, but I've also supported groups as a Tempest. That will be the elite specialization of Elementalist. But for now, I will start with core Elementalist. So without further ado, I'm going to proceed to the next segment on how to play the Elementalist. So here we talk about the Elementalist armor class. The armor class of the Elementalist is light, so you wear light armor. And the weapons for the Elementalist, over here, the Elementalist is able to equip a main hand dagger and an offhand dagger, as well as scepter, main hand, staff, focus offhand, and the warhorn offhand. However, in this video, I'll be focusing on double dagger. This means I will equip a dagger in my main hand and another dagger on the offhand. Why double dagger? Well, I personally feel that the double dagger has strong CC, crowd control, and it provides good mobility on air. It provides combo feels, combo finisher, good condition damage, and it's pretty good in boss soloing as well. So for this video, I'll be focusing on double dagger. So let's go ahead and equip 2 daggers. This one right here, and this. Alright, so we have fire. Dragon Claw is the first fire move. It shoots out 3 projectiles in a fan shape in front of you. So the closer you are to the enemy, assuming this is the enemy, you get more hits. However, if you stand further away, only some will hit. So I got 2 hitting right here, 1 just flew off. If I shift like this, only 1 will hit. So despite the Elementalist dagger being a dagger, its range is pretty good. You have a range of 400, so it's kind of a semi-melee, semi-ranged kind of weapon. The closest range will be air, which is 240, which I'll get to it later. Let's focus on fire. The next skill will be Drake's Breath. So I see a lot of you who tried the Elementalist at starter zones and you guys just go around spraying fire like this. It is a good practice because you are trying to familiarize yourself with the skills of the profession with regards to the weapon. So Drake's Breath basically burns the enemy in front of you. I could get down to specifics like, okay, burning 4 stacks or 4 seconds each, but let's just keep it simple. You basically burn the enemy in front of you and set them on fire. So you do condition damage and the fire will burn them like through 4 seconds. Let's put it that way. Right, the third skill of the dagger on the Elementalist is Burning Speed. I like to call it the Fire Dash because eventually you cannot really remember all the different names of the skills. So I just call it a Fire Dash. You dash and you leave a trail of fire behind you. So enemies who cross that path or touches that fire will be burned. You get to dash forward, to move around in combat, and it's an evade as well. So 3/4 a second of evade, it can be used as a replacement to your dodge. So a dodge is 3/4 a second as well, and your fire dash is the same duration. So if you're out of dodges or you want to conserve your endurance, you can use the fire dash. The fourth skill of the dagger offhand, Ring of Fire. Again, enemies will be burned if they step on the fire. There's something like initial burning, pass-through burning. Don't be confused at all this for now. It's not too important. Just know that it causes burning. So for whoever steps on the Ring of Fire, not in here, but around. It's also a combo field of fire, and this is important. I'll get to it later. It's regarding combo fields, combo finishers, and combos in general. The fifth skill, Fire Grab. I'm not even sure this is called Fire Grab, but it's just like poof. And okay, so what it does is it deals more damage to burning foes. So you would like to use this skill after you have caused sufficient burning stacks on the enemy with your Dagger 2 skill. I call this Dagger 2 because it's gonna be long to say the second skill of the dagger main hand of the fire element. So I just call it Dagger 2. So you Dagger 2, Ring of Fire, and then Dagger 5. So it deals more damage the more stacks of burning. No, sorry. As long as the enemy is burning, you get more damage if you see from over there. Alright, moving to water. Oh, by the way, you change your attunements by default on the F1 to F4 skills. So if I press my F2, I left it on default, by the way. You get to switch to the water attunement. First skill of the water dagger. Dagger 1. So you shoot a vapor blade in front of you and it returns to you. So if you're gonna hit an enemy here, it goes behind, it comes back and it hits the enemy again. Each hit provides a stack of vulnerability. Vulnerability is a condition that increases the damage that the target is taking. The next skill will be Cone of Cold. Dagger 2. So you spray water in front of you, like this, and it heals you as well. So this will be one of your core Elementalist healing skills. remember this. The third skill will be Frozen Burst. Dagger 3. You chill enemies around you. Let's take this for example. Alright, this on cooldown, give it a moment. And they walk slower. Chilled enemies also cast skills slower and has their cooldowns longer. The fourth skill of the Dagger Elementalist on water will be Frost Aura. Like this. So Frost Aura provides 10% less damage to you, and while active it chills foes that hit you. So if you have that aura around you, which is basically 4 seconds, enemies that hits you will be chilled as well. This is very useful as a form of soft CC. And while the Frost Aura is active, you can transmute the aura. So by using it again, you have healing and you have a regen boon, which will heal you over time. So right here on Dagger, we have 2 healing skills, Dagger 2 and Dagger 4, but you have to transmute the aura. Let's try it.
Replenishing.
Goes like this, regen, and you have an instant heal. The fifth skill of Dagger Water, Cleansing Wave. This is important because it cleanses conditions from you. It removes 2 conditions. It also heals you as well. Sorry that I made a mistake. You actually have 3 healing skills on Double Dagger. This is Cleansing Wave. So basically, remember that the Dagger 5 on water cleanses conditions from you. The third, Air Attunement. I like to auto on air because I'm a big fan of melee. Its range is 240. So how it goes? Let's try. Goes like this, and the range is pretty far as well, although it's 240. You notice I'm not very close to the enemy, however I can still hit it. The second skill, you basically remember it as Fury. So if it hits an enemy, it gives you Fury. So if you see earlier, I did not get any Fury boon. However, when it hits an enemy, you get Fury. So inflict weakness on enemies and gain Fury for each foe struck. So if you're gonna strike more enemies, you're gonna get a longer duration of Fury. So once one enemy is 3 seconds. The third skill of the Dagger Elementalist on air, Shocking Aura. This is important especially in PvP modes because it envelopes you in a shocking aura whereby each enemy that hits you with that aura will be stunned. They'll be stunned for 1 second each. However, each attacker can only be affected by this once every 2 seconds. However, if you have, say, 5 enemies attacking you, your Shocking Aura is very useful. Basically, all 5 of them hitting you will be stunned. You can also transmute this aura. Let's wait for the cooldown. So when we say transmuting an aura, that basically means we are going to use it again. transmute lightning. Cause your shocking aura to violently explode, stunning enemies who are struck by it. So what you can do is, you cast an aura first, and the enemy gets stunned, and you can transmute lightning again by transmuting your aura, and then the enemy will be stunned again. Pretty useful. Let's try. So that's transmute lightning. You don't get to see the effect of it getting stunned when it hits me because this is basically a marching golem. It does not attack. The fourth skill of the air right here is one of my favorites. It provides good mobility. You basically dash. It's a long dash of 1200 in range. However, if you're gonna have an enemy in your path, you will hit the enemy. And when you hit an enemy, your skill recharge will be halved. So over here, it says a cooldown of 30 seconds. So let's try to hit this with, I call this the air dash. If you see the cooldown, is 15 seconds. So pretty good mobility if you want to travel fast. The fifth skill of the air is a very strong CC. It's a launch, like so. And it gives you swiftness as well. So 10 seconds of 11 and a half seconds of swiftness. I think it's 10 in PvP. Now let's on to Earth. Earth is good for condition damage, so the Earth auto has a range of 300 and it provides 1 bleed stack per attack, like so. So if you look over here, you are stacking bleeds on the enemy. Pretty good condition damage, I would say, considering it's just an auto attack. Ring of Earth. This is a projectile reflect. Notice it says blocks missiles. So if you're facing an opponent that shoots projectiles like bullets, arrows, whatever, you can reflect that. It provides bleeding as well to the enemy and it cripples the enemy. The third skill, I call it the Earth Dash. It's Earthen Rush, but it's a dash to me. It provides evade of half a second. It's also a combo finisher, a leap. It also immobilizes your opponents, so it's pretty good for PvP, I would say, for those of you who are interested, as immobilize does not allow the opponent to dodge. So it gets immobilized for a good 2 seconds and a maximum of 5 targets. So you can actually mass immobilize a lot of targets as well. The fourth skill on Earth, Dagger. It's a strong CC. A knockdown of 2 seconds. It's also a blast finisher. The fifth skill, Churning Earth. Basically, I call it a bleed bomb. So you get about 10-11 stacks of bleed on the enemy. 12. Actually 12. 8 seconds each. This is your bleed bomb. However, it has a very long cast time of 2 seconds. So if you are interrupted, this will not cast and you'll be put on cooldown. So it'll be good to combo with something that gives you stability. It is also a blast finisher and quite a strong one. Alright, so combos for a core Elementalist on double dagger. Let's wait for this cooldown. Alright, combo field fire. when you blast finisher, you get might here. So a fire combo field with a blast finisher gives area might. Let's try it again with 2 blast finishers. This provides a pretty good amount of might. Waiting on the cooldowns. Alright, so I'm gonna make this quick. You get 6 stacks of might for about more than 20 seconds. So these are the these are all the skills of Double Dagger for Elementalist. Alright, so for this segment we will talk about the different skills of the Elementalist. So you go to your hero panel, it's on the 3rd tab. Conjuring training. Hopefully you've maxed it out. Conjure, it means to create a weapon. So let's see, conjure a flame axe. It's a ground target skill, so you can click like this and it'll spawn an axe over there and you equip one on you. It will replace all your weapon skills. I'm not sure with this weapon, so I'm just giving a show of the abilities to conjure different weapons. Allies can actually pick this up and use the flame axe with you. You can drop the bundle with this button here, or by default the tilt key, and you'll be back to your other weapon skills. So the next conjure, a frostbow. Alright, so frostbow. You basically have a bow in your hands. Allies can join you as well by picking that bow up. Conjure lightning hammer. I'm gonna admit that I'm not sure of the skills of the conjured weapons because I don't really use them. But what I heard is that the earth shield is pretty good for defense, but lately it has been nerfed. Gives you magnetic aura, which will reflect projectiles. I don't really use conjured weapons, so I'm unable to provide further guidance on conjured weapons. Moving on to the next. Glyphs. The only glyphs I think that would be useful. Revive allies. The glyph of renewal. So basically it can revive an enemy. What enemy? It revives an ally based on a selection, so it's a ground target skill. Says to revive and teleport an ally to your location. The fire one seems a bit interesting. You are revived the next time you are downed. So right now it's on cooldown, so I don't get the renewal of fire boon on me right here. So basically, if you look at all the glyphs, it's quite based on your current element on you, and that will be glyphs. Signets. signets are skills that provide passive and active abilities for you. One signet that I would recommend is the Signet of Restoration. The passive is that it grants health every time you cast a spell. So in case you're damaged, you cast this skill, it will heal you. You cast this skill, it will heal you as well. Basically, anything that you cast will heal you. Right now you don't see any heals because my health is full. Signet of Fire, with a passive of improving critical chance. Increases 180 precision on a level 80 character. Signet active, it burns your target and nearby foes. Signet of Water, it reduces incoming condition duration. And the active, so basically active means if you use the skill. So if I don't use this, the passive will be in effect. So it will heal me every time I cast something. However, if I'm gonna activate it like this, it will heal me and I no longer get the passive effect unless I trade for it. There will be a trade section later in the video which I will show. Otherwise, by default, every time you activate a signet, you lose the passive effect until this thing goes off cooldown. Alright, so back to Signet of Water. Where was I? Was I on something else? Right, Signet of Water. So it reduces incoming condition duration. If you read there, condition duration reduction 20%. So what does that mean? For example, if you receive a bleed stack of 10 seconds, it would be 8 seconds instead. The active, when you use it, damage and chill foes while healing and reviving allies in an area. If you can see, the revive percentage is 5%. That is not a lot. And typically I find that most signets aren't very useful other than Signet of Restoration and Signet of Earth. In case you want to feel more defensive, Signet passive improves toughness. So by equipping the Signet of Earth, you are tougher, you receive less damage from enemies. The active effect of Signet of Earth, immobilize and bleed your foe. Again, for immobilize is very useful for PvP. Let's try. So if I select the target and stay within range of 1200, it immobilizes the enemy. Right, I'm still stuck in combat, so I'm just gonna move so I can show you the rest. Alright, Signet of Air. Alright, this is still useful to a degree if you want to move faster. Increases movement speed by 25% as a passive. The active is not too useful. It's blindness, if you're a fan of blindness, but I'm not really a fan of this. But if you see, if I use it, I run slower. And now I run faster after the cooldown has expired. So it lets you run around faster. Alright, so next will be cantrips. Cantrips. One of the useful cantrips that I use, Armour of Earth. This is a break stun and it provides stability. Stability is so that you cannot be CC'd. So if an enemy tries to knock you down while you're on the stability boon, you will be stable. Basically, you will not be knocked down. So if you are knocked down already, you can use Armour of Earth. The other cantrips, I don't really use them, but the next useful one will be Cleansing Fire. It cures conditions from you. I don't really use it for the burning because I have this and this, which will be better for burns, but this will be better for cleansing condition. It cleanses 5 conditions from you. Mist Form, it makes you invulnerable for 3 seconds. It'll be good if you are just panicking, you're not sure what to do, and need some time to think. It's also a stun break. It breaks stun. So we have Lightning Flash, good for mobility. It's a ground target skill, so make sure you put your mouse somewhere that I have instant for ground targeting. So some of you have it normal. You teleport to the target location. This allows you to travel to different places really quickly, so it gives you mobility. Alright, so that will be the 4 cantrips. Arcane. Arcane is basically a mix of all the magic. I'm not sure how Internet actually categorizes what is arcane. I would say that the most useful arcane skill will be Arcane Shield. So it blocks attack with an energy shield. If it blocks 3 attacks, it explodes for critical damage. So this lasts for 5 seconds, 3 stacks of Arcane Shield. So what this means is you can take a maximum of 3 attacks before it explodes and you do not have the shield anymore. Alright, so in this section, we're gonna talk about trait lines. So just a brief overview of what your traits do. So we have fire, air, earth, water, and arcane. Fire is focused on causing burning. It gives you some power. Air is focused on strike damage, critical hits, critical chance, and mobility. Earth is focused on defense, toughness, and condition damage, basically bleeding. Water is your heals. It enhances the heals that you give to yourself and to your allies. Arcane is quite a mix of everything, and it focuses on attunement switch. So you get a lot of traits that says if you switch to this element, you will get this boon, this benefit, and if you're going to switch to this, you're going to switch to that, you get another benefit. And it also reduces the attunement switch cooldown as well. So for core elementalist, I'm going to give you a build that is recommended for beginners. So I'll be choosing the water trait, the earth trait, and the arcane. The build will be down in the description below my video. So let's build this. No worries about me clicking fast. You always have the build down in the description. And let's use arcane for this. So restore health, good for beginners. Alright, so we have water, earth, and arcane here. Utility skills, Signet of Restoration. As I mentioned earlier, it grants health every time you cast a spell. Add some stun break and stability, Armour of Earth. Arcane Shield, another break stun, and your defense as well. So for this utility, let's go with Toughness, Signet of Earth, very beginner friendly. Your last is your elite skill. Some of you like pets, so we have the Glyph of Elementals. It will summon an elemental based on your attunement. So if you see here, you get a fire elemental because I'm on fire. If I switch my attunement, you get a ice elemental, it deals damage and heals. Air, you get an air elemental, it deals damage and stuns. For earth, it deals damage and is hard to kill, so basically the elemental lasts longer. So let me assure you that this build will be useful. You can solo bosses with it. I'm gonna show you a simple solo of Champion Zer, bad at Queensdale. Alright, so we have Zer to myself right now. I'm gonna go ahead and solo her using the build I've recommended. Alright, so we have Zer killed with a core Elementalist build. This build is pretty powerful, even for soloing basic champions. So on to the next section. Alright, so in this section, we will talk about how to gear your Elementalist. As I explained earlier, the build that I used will be placed in the description below. For the rune, we will use the Rune of the Rebirth. It gives a good amount of healing, rune duration, and in case you die, it will give you a barrier instead of dying. For the Sigil, we will use the Sigil of Agony and the Sigil of Energy. So here are some tips on how to play the Elementalist. In case you don't already know, while in combat, you cannot switch your weapons. However, if you switch your attunements from fire to water and so on, it will count as a weapon switch. This is why I selected Sigil of Energy as one of the recommended sigils as I mentioned earlier. So every time you switch your attunements, it counts as a weapon switch and it will give your endurance back. So when you're fighting enemies or in combat, keep switching your attunements every time you need a different skill from a different element or you need your endurance back. Number 2, focus on combo fields. So for example, the 4th skill on fire, on dagger, is your fire field, and you can finish it off with a dash from earth skill number 3, for example. Or you can finish off with a blast finisher, skill 4 or skill 5, for example. Skill 3 on water is also a blast finisher. Third point, know what each skill do. Do not ever key mash. Every skill that you press, you have to make sure that you know what they do. One tip that I find useful in case you are just overwhelmed with so many different weapon skills, or there's like 5 on fire, and there's another 5 on water, and there's just like 20 skills just based on your 2 weapon sets. Sorry, I mean double dagger. So what I can do is to advise you to stick to one element at a time. First, like maybe fire, or that if you prefer earth, you can go with just earth. And when you are more confident, you can add more elements. So let's say I will use only fire and then earth, and then I'll switch back to fire and so on. And then you can slowly add like water and can add air. So eventually you are just, how do I put this? You are just adding more and more skills, however on a gradual basis. Alright, so if you guys have any further questions, feel free to drop a comment below, drop me a message on YouTube, or feel free to whisper me directly in game. I'm pretty friendly, so I'll do my best to reply to as many messages as I can. Take care and good luck.